Even if it's only a passing familiarity, most people know who Hades is. The god of the dead and ruler of the underworld, he is often the cruel, malicious villain of most Greek stories retold in popular culture. From Hercules to Clash of the Titans, he always seems to be scheming to either take over Olympus or bring about mass death. Those are not the stories I want to talk about today. Today, I want to go over three stories that subvert his archetype in varying ways. My first story today relies on you going into it with your presumptions about Hades. This story being Percy Jackson and the Olympians. For a brief summary, in the first book of this series, a powerful weapon of the gods has been stolen, and our main character Percy is the prime suspect. Percy assumes, on incomplete evidence, that Hades must be the true culprit, and proceeds on a nation-spanning quest to find him, only to find that Hades himself went through a theft recently, and also suspects Percy. In the book, this twist mainly works due to the audience making the same assumptions Percy does, that being, Hades is the bad guy, and we just need to stop him to fix everything. In actuality, Hades is equally a victim of losing his weapon, and goes on his own quest to retrieve it himself, as he knows how he's perceived and is confident he would receive no help from his fellow Olympians, who do not respect him. In fact, in this fiction, most of the conceptions of Hades' cruel nature comes from justifiable anger on his part when he sees his fellow gods break their self-imposed rules that he abides by. This shows Percy Jackson's Hades as a much more justice-focused character than he is usually depicted. Next, I would like to discuss the eponymous game, Hades. In this story, you play Zagreus, the made-for-game son of Hades trying to leave the underworld. Of the three, this game provides the most departure from the typical Hades we know. Here playing part boss, part dad with the kid going through a rebellious phase. A character absorbed in all the work that comes with being Lord of the Underworld. The work that comes with processing souls for punishment or Elysium, day in, day out. This work has made him distant from us, his son, and gives us the impression that he thinks we're just a good for nothing, destroying his kingdom each time we try and leave the underworld. However, like with most stories contained in this dynamic, we come to find that Hades truly does care for us, and believes the world not to be kind. By the end, both characters come to an understanding and start on the path to forgiving each other for the past millennia or so of animosity. With this, Hades has taken the backdrop of Hades, the god, and the wider Greek mythology to tell its own story of a family attempting to mend itself. My final story for today concerns the play Hadestown, a retelling of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, where the underworld, Hadestown, is instead a mining town. Here, Hades' relationship with Persephone is what I would like to focus on. In the myth, their relationship is strained due to Hades' courtship of her involving some light kidnapping, but here the cause is different. Similarly to Hades the game, this Lord of the Underworld is also engrossed in his work, but enjoys it. This obsession with his work has led to difficulties in relationship with Persephone, who often feels ignored, as Hades only seems to look at her when he's buying her nice things. Throughout the play, clear parallels are drawn between Orpheus and Eurydice's relationship and Hades and Persephone, the latter seeing their younger selves in the former. It is through this remembrance, this moment of compassion, that lets Hades release Eurydice from Hadestown on his one condition that we all know how that story ends, which leads to the climax of the play. While he may resemble the classic Hades in many ways, it is this moment that shows he is still human under all his pompousness. Mythology is a versatile thing. I could do what I just did with countless others: Zeus, Odin, Poseidon. What interests me in Hades is the dramatic shift he has gone through in the last decade or so, from the classic villain to a much more dynamic character, capable of filling many roles. It is a development that seems to be just realizing itself, and with the financial and critical success of these three pieces, it seems it won't be stopping anytime soon. And I, for one, cannot wait to see where it goes next.